Okay, there's still a few people filtering in, but we will begin. Good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar on best practices for email marketing, hosted by Technology Advisors and Act-On Marketing Automation. Our presentation will give you lots to think about as you move forward with your email campaigns and hopefully spark some ideas you can start putting to use right now. But before we begin, I'd just like to mention a few housekeeping items. This webinar will be recorded and a copy will be sent to you within 48 hours. If any questions come up throughout the presentation, please feel free to type them in the questions box and we'll try to answer as many as possible. If we don't get to your question for some reason, we're happy to follow up with you directly after the webinar has ended. With that said, let's get started. Okay, my name is Janine Panarelli. I'm the marketing manager at the software consulting company Technology Advisors. Co-hosting with me today is Brandon Contreras. He's the global channel manager at Act-On, a leader in marketing automation software. So naturally, Brandon is quite an expert in the field of email marketing, and we're very happy to have him with us today. Thanks for being here, Brandon.
Thanks, Janine. We're going to use that word or descriptor of expert loosely, but thank you very much for having me. Always a pleasure to present with Tech Advisors.
All right, let's take a quick look at the agenda, and then I'll hand it over to you, Brandon. So these are the 5 email tactics we're going to focus on today. Brandon's going to elaborate on the importance and use of these tactics for optimal email marketing. And now I'd like to turn the floor over to him to take us through the presentation. Take it away, Brandon.
Thanks, Janine. So good day all, good morning, good afternoon, wherever part of the nation that you find yourself in today. As Janine mentioned, my name is Brandon. I'm the channel manager here at Act-On Software. We offer a marketing automation platform. We'll get to that towards the very end of our presentation today, should time allow. Our effort today is to arm you with 5 very simple yet effective tactics for you to immediately employ to enhance, make better your email marketing. This may be, well, maybe review. We'll find out, right? What I end up discovering in many a conversation with prospect, even a new client alike, is when we start talking about the effectiveness of email and I start going down these 5 pretty straightforward, kind of no-brainer style tactics, surprisingly enough, not many organizations are doing or using or have had familiarity with these. So we thought it would be a good idea to do a webinar around it. Away we go. Also, in that chat box there, you have the ability to chime in with commentary, questions, so on and so forth. Janine is monitoring that. Janine will interrupt me. Sometimes to my demise, I get going, don't take enough pause for, let's see kind of what's going on, people smiling, nodding their heads type of a thing. I get it. Chat something in, chat in a question, chat in a comment. As it is compelling, Janine will interrupt me and I'll field questions or comments and create some sort of interactivity. As Janine mentioned, these are the 5 that we're addressing today with regard to email. Away we go. First and foremost, behavior-triggered email programs may be, again, straightforward, but we'll find out. Some individual, user, contact, lead, suspect, prospect of yours takes some sort of action with your content. Are you following up with that individual in an automated fashion via email? Does an individual get an email automatically from you if they view your pricing page? Or maybe days after they visited your home page? That seems very elementary, and it might be a head scratcher like, Brandon, why would we want to send email information to people just upon hitting our home page? Just using that as an example. What about if they download something, take a specific action with anything? Is there some sort of level of follow-up that you are taking with this individual to maybe kind of keep their attention going, or maybe nurturing them down a pathway, guiding them. Hey, you took a look at our pricing page. Maybe, here's a link to open a free trial of a something. Again, example, you could send email based on an individual taking a behavior or not taking the behavior. We'll get to this later on, but many an organization are using forms on their site. And when an individual gets to the form, whether it's a contact me request form or a registration form or sign up to download a particular something, and the individual does not fill it out, do you take specific action? Do you follow up with that person saying, hey, sir, you took a look at our contact me request form, but, is there something we can help you with? 1, 2, 3, XYZ. Effective. Mentioned some of these, right? They download something, maybe some further action inside of an email. They click a link inside of a message that you send as their further follow-up. Thank you for logging into the demo environment today. We see that you took a look at 1, 2, 3. Do you have any questions on any of these? Obviously, thank you for making a purchase. Thank you for opting in. Again, a variety of activities. When taking a look at these, are we following up? Are you following up on them actually taking these behaviors as well as quite possibly not taking these behaviors, right? Food for thought. Purpose of behavioral emails, huge. We're delivering the right message at the right time, extraordinarily timely and very, very relevant. Increases in calls to action equals increases in conversions, right? We surface an email, maybe no action was taken, maybe days later we send the exact same email with a different subject line, and all of a sudden people are clicking through on calls to action inside of those messages. They're on landing pages. That's compelling them to take further action, yet individuals aren't. Again, we can follow up. Saw that you visited XYZ page. Didn't see that you registered for ABC event. Maybe you're not available February the 18th. We're having another one March the 18th. Examples. Simple yet effective. Examples. Thank you very much. Thanks for taking a look at us. Thank you for stopping by. Maybe a particular upsell based on a transaction. I love these, right? As consumers, we have great experience with these, and maybe there's been a time where we've received some sort of a something from an organization, and we're like, wouldn't it be nice to be able to do that internally here for our company? What about some sort of re-engagement, right? Hey, your last visit to Pinkberry was on this particular date. Let us throw you 5% off if you come in, I don't know, March. Something along these lines. Cart abandonment, very, very straightforward. Many an organization that has some sort of online shopping cart. Again, we're very experienced with these at the consumer level, where we do some shopping and, I don't know, we leave our cart with all of the stuff in it, and all of a sudden I get a friendly email saying, hey, where'd you go? You forgot to buy your 1, 2, 3. You took a look at ABC. People that took a look at ABC were also interested or have also purchased DEF. I love those. Amazon is infamous, if not notorious, for those types of things. eBay as well, and I find myself, again from the consumer standpoint, clicking, viewing, possibly buying. Download follow-up. Again, extraordinarily popular. You took a look at our ebook. You downloaded the ebook. Here's some follow-up information from what's contained in there. Click here to create a new trial. Click here to schedule a call. Click here to have one of our sales engineers reach out to you. Click here for testimonials. The options here are pretty endless, but again, taking specific action, very timely and relevant based on how the user is interacting with your content. Of course, maybe the hands are going up right now. Quite possibly you're jotting down, where am I getting this information from? How do I know how individuals are behaving? Well, obviously you need some sort of something collecting behavioral data. Most email service providers are showing you sense opens and clicks, very straightforward, but again, some of the bigger hurdles are all of this behavioral data. Keys to success. Again, maybe semi-no-brainer, but we say them anyway. At this stage in the game, as you're offering up information, as you're taking action on behavior, you know what? Hey, I'm here to be as helpful and as genuine as possible. You know, we'll get to the sales pitch somewhere down the road. We'll get to the, you know, let's get on a demonstration or something along those lines. Right now, we're just kind of meandering, you know, maybe, you know, high five and fist bump about some stuff, guiding you through. You know, thanks for taking a look at this. You might be interested in that. You know, very soft approach, but again, genuinely helpful. If we're taking action based on a user's behavior or absence of behavior, we have to assume we're being timely and relevant. Just so long as we're setting these triggers to happen shortly after the behavior or absence of behavior. That's essential. Hashtag fail when I download something on, download or don't download, something on a Monday, and maybe some few weeks later, thank you very much for downloading this, that, and the other. I'm like, oh, double-edged sword. Could be, yeah, that's right, I did, but too late now because the attention span of a gnat has driven me to something else. In all of this, think about your own experience in the meandering, kind of the walking through in the web investigation. For most of us, it happens rapidly, right? There is the really intense, let's take a long, elongated look at something, but that quickly drives us from one point to the next until something really catches our attention and we're really waist deep in it. Food for thought. And always test the timing of this. Do we want to be an irritant and saying, after somebody downloads something, immediately firing off, hey, thank you very much for downloading this, and if you downloaded this, you very well are going to want to know about this also. Test that out. If you have products and services that are heavily transactional with very short sales cycles, yeah, absolutely, you might want to be, you know, fast and furious. But if it's a longer sales cycle where the investigation might take, you know, a good chunk of time, again, the timing of which would be tested.
Hey, Brandon, I'm going to interrupt you for a second here because we had a question come in.
Yeah.
This participant is asking, is there a number of emails you recommend or don't recommend sending within a certain time frame? For example, 3 emails per week versus 1 email every 2 weeks?
Yeah, you know, best practice could hover somewhere between 2 and 4. And again, it really truly depends, and I would certainly kind of take a look at data and kind of test it out. I've seen a variety of things happen. I've seen everywhere from the heavily transactional organization with a very, very short sales cycle, borderline irritant with 5, 7, 10 emails in a week. And they're like, why are people like abandoning carts and opting out? And well, why? Because you're ticking them off with inundating their email inbox. The reverse is true where an organization has a very elongated sales cycle, but they're sending, you know, the 2 to 3 to 4 soft touches. in a week, in a couple of weeks, and they're seeing that level of engagement. So, again, so many different factors. Length of your sales cycle, are you heavily transactional or is it more elongated? And the type of investigation historically that your buyers go through, right? Is it a very, very detailed? Does it need the insert of, a sales pro, of a demonstration, or is it all just done transactionally on the internet? So a variety of
All right, thank you very much.
pieces. Just kind of in review, that was kind of a long way of answering that question. So hope it drove the point home. Email drip campaigns as well as lead nurturing. Again, we very well have had experience with these as consumers, right? I tend to be a simpleton. That standard, very vanilla email drip campaign. Send Deneen an email, wait 5 days. Send Deneen an email, wait 5 days. Send, wait. Standard, basic, effective. If we're broadcasting to a very large bucket of people, in an email drip campaign, we can assume that everybody in that bucket is going to get the same email with the same amount of wait period. The same email comes next with the same amount of wait period, so on and so forth. Fine. Perfect. And again, we probably have some sort of experience with these as consumers. It's automated, right, for most organizations. Albeit in the many conversations I've had with prospective clients and clients alike. Oh, no, Brandon, we go in, we mark the calendar, and our marketing coordinators go in and drop those broadcasts, the first Friday of every month, and then the clock is on for 4 days. And then we manually go in and drop the next email. Woo, interesting. Okay, it's being done. I get it. Ideally, focused, guided series of related messages. And we mentioned the time period here. Analogy, the faucet that drips. Why are these effective? Why are automating these effective? Good chunk of hard work and effort at the very beginning for lots of sit and look and watch to see how it performs over the long run. Initial investment equals long-term rewards. And oh, by the way, this little second bullet point, one email can't do the job that a series of messages can. Again, we think about our own inbox experience. Timeliness, relevance is everything. In my inbox now, there are messages from people that I know, family, friends, maybe even immediate supervisor, that might not immediately get opened because they're not extraordinarily timely and relevant given what I'm doing this very second. Timeliness, relevancy, key. Although the running joke would probably be, dude, you're not opening a message from your immediate supervisor? Well, again, depends. Hyper-targeted to life cycles and purchasing cycles. Again, being able to see where a particular individual is in their soon-to-be customer of ours journey, or where they are in the customer life cycle, comparing data to customers that we've had on the books for a period of time. What's the next natural step after they've gone through our training and certification? Maybe emails inviting them to training follow-up, a meeting with an account executive to do an account review for us possible, for an organization, possibly upsell, cross-sell other products and services, or hey, just to see how things are going. Rarely does one email message do this. Our friends over at Marketing Sherpa providing us with statistics. Brands that nurture leads see a 45% higher return on investment than those that don't. That lead incubator, right? Again, that question that came earlier is a very important one. Do we want to be the irritant, or do we want to softly nurture, touch every so often? Man, that's a very, very great question to which there's not like this immediate, here is that number. But again, everybody's different. There's been one message a week that has ticked off, a person. Can you guys stop sending me this message? Think about our own inbox experience. But again, nurturing, right? Different topics, different messages, going out to individuals over a period of time. Simply not just the one message is going to do it all. 45% higher return on investment, huge. In putting these together, best practices around this. Set the foundation for your drip. Who's the target? Big leads bucket? Maybe brand new customers? Maybe customers that are 3 to 5 months in with us? What's the goal? What do we want them to do? Either during this drip or towards the end of this drip, somewhere in the drip? And then how are we going to track success? Is it, click here for a demonstration, click here for a sign up to talk to an account executive, just a way for us to see, monitor statistics and analytics as to how this drip campaign is functioning. Key.
Brandon, can I interrupt you for one more minute?
Absolutely.
We've had another question come in. Brian's asking, what are the best sources for getting new leads?
Great question. A variety. So again, depends on the organization. Where are most of these coming from? I'm just going to throw darts at a number of these. Purchased or rented data in the demographic of your choice. That is kind of a no-brainer way to start, right? Going to a data house, going to a Zoom Info, a Net Prospects, a Database USA, and saying, hey, the people that typically buy my products and services are marketing coordinators in organizations ranging from this size to that size in the eastern United States. What kind of data do you have there? And seeing what kind of buckets they have. Social media is another one. Building out forms and broadcasting, again, depending on products and services, right? Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, putting out web forms, continually broadcasting, hey, we're over here, take a look at us, and sign up to download an ebook, sign up for a webinar, those types of things. This cross-pollination with a complementary product or service. Right, kind of a lead share with that partner organization down the road. That's another good way. Some of the other, obviously no-brainer ones organizations continue to have success with, fill in the blank with whatever trade show or vendor event there, right? Come pick up a squishy toy for your business card. That might be elementary, but yet effective. Hope that answers your question there.
Thank you, Brandon.
Yes. Yes, can you hear me, Deneen?
Yes, I just said thank you.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. Drip campaign, set the foundation we talked about. Then the visualize it. This is where we go from Sharpie cocktail napkin, drawing schematic, what we want to have happen in day 1, email 1, email 2, day 3, email 3, day 5, right? We start putting together kind of this workflow, chart it out, how we want it to happen. This is actually the most difficult piece of it, is the actual visualization, right? The drawing it out. First thing I want to have happen is this first message, and then some sort of wait period. And understand, this is, initially it's trial and error, right? You are not going to be perfect right out of the box. So visualizing it, drawing it out. Love this. mylovelycharts.com, my.lovelycharts.com, where you can actually, for those of you who are more web-based enabled, you know, you can jump in here and you could use cool squares and triangles and things along these lines to really visualize your drip campaigns. Extraordinarily helpful for kind of workflows. Recommended. We don't receive anything if and when you use this. Just like it. When would we use these? One example could be after an event. Oh, asterisk, maybe, quite possibly, Deneen, in her expertise with her marketing team, probably has put together a very soft touch style post-event drip campaign. It's probably going to say some things like, thank you very much for attending, some topics that we covered. If you're interested in learning more, click here. Here's a link to the webinar recording, so on and so forth. So some sort of post-event drip. Some further examples. And again, hey, thank you very much for attending, but with further calls to action. And again, we're still in this very soft touch guided take you through. Thank you very much for attending. If you want to have a demonstration of this, that, and the other, click here. Maybe, but actually, let me go back to here. Series of 4, right? You know, post-event, it's not going to happen in just one. If we really want to maintain some sort of nurture connectivity with you, and then again, not to be an irritant or otherwise, but we're not going to inundate you with these over and over and over again in the next few days post-event. Well, we won't. Depends on the organization, and again, depends on that, you know, heavily transactional, take action now, our sales cycle is very short, type of a thing. Welcome drip. We use this for our client base 10 ways to Sunday. Thank you for onboarding. Here's where you can take a look at some initial things before your first getting started meeting with us. Take a look at this. Click here for that. Here's some additional information here with some compelling calls to action. And again, you see kind of the nurturing where we start increasing specificity and relevance in the drip over a period of time. Key. Test, test, test. How are people interacting with these initial emails that are going out? If there's a post-event drip going on, are these individuals also in other drip campaigns of ours? Onesies, twosies, threesies. And if so, now how many messages are they getting from us because they're in a variety of drip campaigns? So think about the interaction with other emails that are going out as well. Incorporating other channels. Social, key. Avoid this common mistake. And I need to make sure that I'm overemphasizing this. A drip campaign is not just a quick set it and forget it. We have to come in, take a look, take the temperature, keep our finger on the pulse of what is going on inside of this drip campaign. Are people falling off at particular points? Are people opting out? Are people getting stuck at a certain level inside of this drip campaign? We're constantly looking at it and monitoring it. And we also have the ability to make changes to it as it's happening. Keep that in mind. Oh, adding some cool stuff, which you've seen in some of these kind of templated messages through this presentation. Again, I urge all of us, think about our own experience with our own inbox, right? Are we more apt to click on just a standard plain kind of blah type of a message with a not so exciting sense of urgency style subject line, right? And even in the preview, which most of us do, I mean, I'm a preview junkie, right? When we take a look at how that message pops in a preview, is something catching our eye. What are those things? Use those for yourself inside of your own organization. Think about, obviously, the buyer. Are they extraordinarily tech savvy? And are we just sending them plain style emails, or are we, taking into account their savviness and we're being savvy as well? Increase engagement with social sharing, big calls to action that pop, send to a friend style things. These are all important. Kind of mentioned some of this. Link to a cool video, tweet this out, GIFS and scratch it. Animated GIFs. Love seeing some of these types of things happening inside of emails. Some sort of movement of an actual product.
Brandon, I have a question on that here.
Yep.
Denise wants to know, how do GIFs and other image-related files translate to mobile devices? And if most of my subscribers are mobile, should I be excluding those things, or?
Yeah, again, absolutely. So it is, that responsive design piece inside of email construct is huge, right? And, again, I go back to my own personal, nothing is as irritating as when a particular video or something is sitting there, kind of wanting to play for email, download, so on and so forth. I see very few of those animation style things showing up in my mobile device. And I think why? Because, hey, let's keep it colorful. Let's keep it kind of that Google-esque style, blocky, big logos, big calls to action that I can press on my, big 4-inch or larger screen on my iPhone. And let's keep all of the other animation things, kind of to the side. Or, again, in our own experience, we see some sort of icon for a, click here for a, quick video presentation or something along those lines. We know what a video link looks like by now, most of us, if not all of us on this call. So I would say include those, but lay off of the animation if you're seeing good, kind of follow-up to this. If the data you're getting back is that most of your users are opening messages on mobile device browsers, yeah, let's just stick with that responsive design, the big kind of the Google-esque calls to action, the bigger fonts, again, that cascading messages so it shows up nicely on an iPhone or an iPad. We'll keep all of the other stuff for follow-up messages on desktop.
All right, fabulous. I just wanted to mention as well, we're having some questions come in about Scratch It, and I know you are going to go into that in a few moments, so Brandon will explain what that is in just a few minutes here.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, carry on.
We talked about the animation portion of this. I'm going to kind of skip through subtle movements. Some great GIF making style places where you can go. Image flip, awesome. This is the one that I've used personally. GIFmaker.me, free, converts images into animation, cool. Pause here just to, you could soak all of these in, recommended. Things to keep in mind for at least these two interfaces, Outlook 07, 10, and 13, and Windows Phone 7, only the first frame of the image is shown. Thought I'd include that as just kind of an FYI. File size, I think that's the irritant for me, right? When somebody incorporates some sort of animation or video inside of a message, and maybe I'm on the go, and the subject line popped, extraordinarily compelling, and then I, open up the message, on the subway or otherwise, and that thing is just sitting there getting stuck trying to download. Ugh. Don't overdo it. Subtlety at its finest. Test, test, test. Make sure the first frame works as a static image for non-compatible email clients. This is huge. I'm going to mention something to you all, Litmus, L-I-T-M-U-S. That is something that you can test what or how emails are going to render in almost any email interface that you can name. Anything from Google to Yahoo to Safari to iOS to iPhone to Android, the list goes on and on. You can actually see how your messages are going to render in those interfaces. So key. HTML5 video. Obviously, we know what a video link is going to look like. We see a lot of clients of ours attempting this. I think statistics and analytics are showing us that, obviously the bigger calls to action, like I was mentioning, you see something like this in this one on the left here, right, that has this link to this video, which when clicked is probably going to open up maybe a YouTube or a browser window, and it's going to show off that video. More recommended than the actual video maybe quite possibly playing inside of the email interface. So some things to keep in mind. Apple Mail, iPhone, iPad, Outlook, these are where HTML5 video is supported in. Always have a fallback. If there's some sort of issue with the video playing, does a landing page show up instead? Do you have a developer on standby taking a look at these things for you? I'm going to pause right here for here's some free tutorials. This email on acid thing, huge. Oh, by the way, this webinar recording is going to be made available as well as the presentation deck. So if you're not fast with the snippet or the copying of this particular link, all of this will be made available to you. There's our friends at Litmus mentioned again. Scratch it. Kind of cool, It is kind of an interactive style. I mean, you think about, that Scratch It lottery ticket or something along those lines, right? Scratch here to redeem a something. And very cool for that smartphone style experience where an individual receives an email, and basically the call to action is what it is here, right? Hey, do we have something for you? Scratch this off and see. And because of the way, obviously iPhones and, iPads render messages, smartphones render messages, that touch is key, where the person actually is like, and I found myself doing this a number of times. I mean, I talk about it pretty often, and I get these messages, and I'll sit there and scratch and see what's underneath. Some sort of call to action and some sort of link to a landing page for a something. But again, this interactivity is key, kind of a cool, fun way to, kind of yell and scream from a mountaintop. So good stuff here. Scratch-it.com. Again, we don't get anything for mentioning them. Kind of a cool little, quirky little thing to use. Statistics will tell us has improved email engagement 10x. And this is most of us, if not all of us, curious, excited. Ooh, what's under here? Am I missing something? Take ownership, and I'm feeling special. Don't overdo it, right? If you decide to use Scratch It, every single message you deploy cannot be a Scratch It style message. Otherwise, this funsy, curiosity, exciting type of, wears off. Oh my God. Again, here comes yet another Scratch It email from Acme, right? And I did the first one, and I got 50% off, and I got the second one, and I got 50% off, and I keep, what am I going to get now? Opt out. Timeliness and relevance. Some sort of the right type of offer. Seasonal, discount. You're an awesome client of ours. We want to reward you with this. Learn more about something. Check us out at scratch-it.com. Love this. Social. Oh, but Twitter is going by. No, it's not. No, it's not. Still extraordinarily effective. Obviously B2C, B2B. I mean, look, back in the sales professional days, lead gen was huge for me personally on Twitter. Scouring the Twitterverse, what are people posting, commenting about products and services that I offer? Those are leads for me. Is there a call to action in there, where we're awarding or rewarding something via email if they, hey, thank you very much for this, here's a X% off, and oh, by the way, tweet this. I'm part of a marketeers group on Facebook, a very large one, where a couple of the moderators and admins, they've got some great, just diamonds that they put out every so often. And one of the things that I think is extraordinarily cool is right after I sign up for one of their webinars, there's this huge landing page that says, hey, thank you very much for signing up. We look forward to having you on Thursday. Do us a favor, tweet this out. And I've been stoked on the content. They've done right by me. I continue to do that. So definitely social. Tweet me. Breaking news. Get local. Community contribution contests. Tips and opinions, promo codes, those types of things. Yeah, number one, huge. Here, I think the call is for all of us to, make it worthwhile, right? Don't be the, standard every day, or receive a discount code for, make it kind of cool, make it worth tweeting. If it's, if it's exciting and kind of upbeat and extraordinarily relevant to you, chances are it's going to be for your audience. Follow up on social conversations. So a lot of you all that are responsible for the email marketing portion are probably the ones active on social for your organization. When people tweet you, is there some sort of response by your organization, hey, Mike123, thank you very much. Click here for, a something, courtesy of your friends over here at Acme. That engagement. I would say social warriors, using that phraseology, will tell you social only works if there is that kind of bi-directional push and pull happening. As people are engaging with you and your brand, are you re-engaging them? Resources for click-to-tweet links. I use this. Click-to-tweet. Whether I'm broadcasting something internally to all of my counterparts and colleagues, making it very easy for them just to click a link and immediately the Twitter interface comes up and all they have to do is click tweet. Done. That's huge. Click-to-tweet is great. Click-to-tweet will also provide you with statistics and analytics as to how many people are engaging with this click-to-tweet link, and obviously you're going to see that information on Twitter, but when you put out a click-to-tweet link, you're going to get statistics and analytics inside of click-to-tweet as to how that click-to-tweet link is doing. Phew. Responsive email design. That was a question that came up if my users are mobile. Yeah. We don't have to go into this in too much depth because, again, think about our own experiences. 43% of email opens are mobile, 400% growth in 3 years and climbing. Responsive email is key. And drum roll, most popular email client, our friends over at Apple, 25% of opens, courtesy of our friends over at emailclientmarketshare.com. Also, knowing our audience, right? Just like the person that asked the question, raised their hand. If most of our individuals are on mobile, do we even need to tinker around with some of these bells and whistles? Maybe, quite possibly. But what about if we have an audience of, I don't know, engineers, software designers, manufacturers, individuals in the trades? I don't know. Are they desk bound during the day? Are they field style people? Scientists versus individuals that are field reps? Where are they seeing their emails? Some examples, Map My Run, used to subscribe to them, used to be part of that Map My Run thing. 70% of those messages are read on mobile, go figure. Litmus, that organization that I had mentioned that shows up the email, how your emails render, less than 15% on mobile. Why? Because maybe there's a boatload of marketeers that are at desks in offices in cubicles with, big computer screens taking a look at what we're going to use for marketing. Less than 15% of their messages are read on mobile. Hint, hint, know your audience. Interesting. Love this statistic. 80% of subscribers delete emails that look bad on their phones. Does that mean that everything you send needs to be responsive? Not so much, but certainly, maybe a larger size font, right? Larger size calls to action might not necessarily have to cascade as responsive design, needs to. But if your email is looking shoddy on the iPhone or on mobile, this is what stats and analytics are telling us. They're just going to be deleted. Notice it didn't say unsubscribe, just deleted. A little more about responsive design. This cascading effect, right? Advanced mobile email design approach, whatever the size of the browser is, you think iPad, iPad mini, Android, what size Android? What size Samsung, what size iPhone, resizes, relocates, removes content, that cascading effect. That's this responsive email design. Is your email service provider able to have either responsive design by default or the ability to turn responsive design on or off depending on the message that you want to send? Key stuff. Some of what the coding looks like, and this is a head scratcher for me in just putting this in here, but interestingly enough, there is actual CSS that can be put into messages, making it, again, so that it renders on the smaller screen, so that it does cascade, etc. I'm going to make sure that in our follow-up to you all, we have some resources as to, some technical resources that you can look at with regard to responsive email design. In referencing, what messages could and would look like, right? Kind of referencing media query, and there's going to be some information that we'll send out regarding media query. Takes a look at your message just as you are designing it, what it would look like in a particular email client, kind of similar to Litmus. But unlike Litmus, there's a little bit of inconsistency. A workaround. Most email service providers, you have the ability to column email messages. And instead of having this wide left to right, think about a message in one particular column, this left justified column, and putting all of your content there. And so when you see something like this, again, look at the big logos, the big calls to action, right? The larger size font would render nicely on my iPhone. The idea of a single column of content layout. Love this statistic, this little factoid here. If we, again, goes without saying, ad nauseum, my own email interaction on my iPhone, right? The scroll. That email message could pop via subject. I could open it up and I could scroll through it, and guess what? The most clicked link in the email, the very last one. Food for thought. Maybe quite possibly because people sending me emails realize this and they put the most compelling call to action towards the bottom, or maybe it's laziness and complacency on my part that I don't want to scroll back up to something else that I saw. Maybe a combination of both. Strong visual hierarchy, right? What pops here? See new moment. Of course, obviously the branding here, our friends over at Clout. But I also have headers of this message that pop, congrats, you have a new moment, and then see new moment. Everything else is kind of noodles on the wall, except for those things. I like big buttons, and I cannot lie. So when you see something along the lines of this, again, would certainly pop on my iPhone, iPad. We talked about this earlier. When we think about responsive design, we have larger style font, big calls to action, take a peek. Oh, by the way, this would render nicely just inside of my Gmail, right? Clean, crisp, straightforward. Again, in thinking about this via mobile, right, and then responsive design, this is where I see all of you nodding and smiling, right? When we're looking at our inbox, what's the type of stuff that pops? The Gap Extra, 40% off sale, I don't know. Fade has endorsed me. What does she endorse me for? I want to see that. I don't know how big of a fan I am of J. Crew, but I mean, you get it. Take a look at these things that do pop. And, some of what we've seen in the last, 6 months, maybe longer, are, lots of icons, emojis, things, maybe too gamey for the subject line, wings and envelopes inside of the subject line, maybe a little too much. I don't know how strongly I would recommend those types of things, but maybe a straightforward style subject line that pops and shows some urgency. Food for thought. Yeah, taking a look at this. Optimizing what your subscribers see before they open. Is it a view this email in browser, as Gold Star did here? Or is it something along the lines of, like, you could see kind of what LinkedIn has done, congratulations, or 40% off J. Crew, right? Where I get a little bit of a teaser even inside my smartphone before I pop this thing open. Oh, there it is. 30% boost in calls in CTR. So again, this gold star piece, just going back, probably not going to be, view email and browser. Probably don't have much time or bandwidth to do that right now. But my click-through rate on something like this, and interestingly enough, I don't know, I like the endorsements. I like the congratulations. What, somebody's just endorsed me. What are they have endorsed me for? Probably going to get a click-through here. So 30% boost in click-through rate. Yep.
Oh, I apologize. I have a question here. Is it true that the word free in your email subject is still a spam red flag? And
that's a great question.
Free was written in all caps. I don't know if that's part of his question, but.
Yes. In fact, most email service providers have some sort of spam filter mechanism. We happen to use Spam Assassin, and it tests your message through a variety of spam filters. And yes, free oftentimes does, and I'm saying like well into the 80th, 90th percentile, come back with some sort of flag-style warning saying, you're using free in the subject line. And the chances
and that's
are
regardless of whether, I'm sorry, that's regardless of whether it's full caps or just written, in lowercase letters, but just the word free in general, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Free in all caps, free in lowercase is still just on our side. On my side personally, in working with clients and prospects alike, prospects that are testing things, right? When we're doing an email test using Acton, and they want to put Deneen, you've received a free, and I'm like, well, here, see for yourself. Here's what's coming back via Spam Assassin, and they're tagging it for the word free in the subject line. So take heed. App downloads. So some ideas inside of responsive design, right? Download of something, get our free app. Responsive design, there's some templates located here. Again, this is going to go out to you all. Some technical resources, responsiveemailresources.com, catchy title, catchy enough address. So we'll make sure that you have these resources available to you. Great stuff. The 7 free templates inside of this for responsive design, even for my own personal demonstrations of our email platform, I've used 2 of the templates found inside of this one right here. So we'll make sure we have these links out to you. Bottom line, right? Where are we trying to go with this? It's all about meeting your subscribers where they are, right? Are they on the go? Are they behind their desk? Responsive is huge here in so much as the marketeer is behind in office, in cube, at their desk for a period of time, and then they pick up their smartphone and away they go. Do we stop short by, if we're marketing, let's say, to marketeers, do we not send responsive design just because they're in office and desk all day? The reverse could be true. Where are your subscribers? And again, going back to that earlier question, somebody already knows and saying, hey, does this make sense if most of my users and subscribers are mobile? Phew. That slide came up quick. Yeah.
We have
so you have a number of questions, comments, concerns, or we're running probably short on time.
Yeah, we're running a little bit over, but I do want to get to this one last question. Rachel wants to know, are there still days of the week that you should not send emails? It used to be a no-no to send on Fridays.
Yeah, I like the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Prospects, clients, our data internally tells us Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, right? a little personal anecdote about that. You know, I mean, coming back from the weekend, you know, cobwebs are getting out, and there's, you know, it depends. But you know, I'm not clicking through on anything new other than, you know, getting my week set up and getting stuff in order for the week. So here's the Monday reset, right? So chances are, you know, to market to somebody on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, things are starting, you know, things have already settled in on the Tuesday. You know, the week is already kind of planted and plotted, and, you know, oh, by the way, here comes an offer for something or a training coming up, or join our webinar or download our ebook, right? The franticness of the weekend is past. I've accomplished Monday, so the world is my oyster. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know, the dust has settled. I even think about this Wednesday, Thursday time frame. What about Thursday, where I think about, oh, next week, what's going on next week? Oh, look, I got this offer for this training, or, you know, the dust is starting to settle from the week and I'm easing into a Friday Eve, where I can start taking a, you know, a more detailed look at, you know, offers and registrations and ebooks and events coming up. I love Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, there's data out there that says Tuesday, Wednesday. There's data out there that says Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday afternoon. Variety. Simpleton in me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Other questions?
And also, I think that goes back to your comment about, you know, knowing when your audience is opening their emails. If you're noticing your, you know, for example, I notice when I send emails around 10 a.m., more people open them than if I send them around 1 p.m. So that's just like, you know, a trend to be aware of with your own audience.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's still a good amount of prospecting that I do personally, right, where I have leads and contacts that I'm following up with, and there's a level of marketing that I'm doing into this leads and contacts base. You know, kind of that mid-morning, afternoon, taking into consideration time zones, absolutely. I might not want to mess with someone's morning. Afternoon, microcosm of the week, right? That afternoon, the dust has settled from the day. Things are starting to settle in. I've got control of things. I might have time to explore stuff. So there you go.
Well, okay. I think that pretty much wraps it up for us today. On behalf of Technology Advisors and Acton, we'd like to thank you for joining us. And I'd also like to thank Brandon for a fabulous dive into email marketing strategies. If you'd like to learn more about how Acton can help you successfully implement the tactics we talked about today, my contact information and Brandon's contact information are on the screen, and we are here to help.
Perfect. Janine, always a pleasure to present with you, all of you as attendees. Thank you so much for letting me present and staying with us throughout the hour-ish. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Take great care.
Muted.